Are you a smart entrepreneur? Do you know the 5 things that smart entrepreneurs never do? Number 1, smart entrepreneurs, they never micromanage. Now I want you to imagine back then when you are starting your business. Now I remember when I was starting my first few businesses, I was a control freak, where I was the king of micromanagement. I wouldn't know all the details because in the beginning of your career, your business career, you are doing everything. You're the one-man, one-woman show. You are selling, you are closing, you are doing the invoice, you're doing the marketing, you're meeting with people, you are doing the fulfillment, you're taking a phone call, you're dealing with the receipts, right? And you are trying to make sure everything don't fall apart. You're talking to everybody. And you have to micromanage because that's what you need to do. But after a certain point, that behaviors, even as you grow, stay. Because that's how you know. That's what it takes to grow a business. I gotta know everything, I gotta micromanage. But then what happens is, as your revenue grows, you will hit a glass ceiling. And that behavior, as a rugged individualist, as a control freak, does not serve you. If you want to go to the next level, you have to let go. Now you can no longer manage in a small details kind of way. You cannot micromanage anymore. So smart entrepreneurs, you have to learn, and we know we are macro thinkers. What we need to do as a smart entrepreneur is we need to figure out exactly where we are going. What's our vision? That's your job. You figure out the vision, number 1, and number 2, you now recruit and hire talents to help you that you know they have the capabilities and have the right attitudes, the right culture, to help you to execute that vision. That's number 2. And number 3, you as a leader, very important, allocate the resources, the capital to execute that vision, to help your team execute that vision. That is it. That is it. When you are micromanaging, you cannot do that because you're too close to your business. You got to step back and think about the big picture. What is the vision? Who do I need to have on my team to execute this vision? And how do I allocate my resources that will help them prioritize, that will help my team to execute that vision? And that is it. So smart entrepreneurs, we don't micromanage. Number 2, smart entrepreneurs don't say yes to everything. In the beginning of your entrepreneurial career, you have to say yes to everything. You have to say yes to that meeting. You have to say yes to every single client that comes through the door. You have to say yes to every single email because you are still growing and building. But when you get to a certain size and certain point, you have to learn how to say no. As an entrepreneur, you must realize that you have a finite amount of time, resources, capital, whatever that it is not infinite. So as a CEO, as a founder, you must learn to prioritize. One of the most important lessons that I have learned in my own career is this, that in the beginning I have to say yes to everything, then I only say yes to something, then now almost say yes to nothing. Everything that comes across my table, investment, joint venture opportunity to do this deal and that deal, I have to look at it and say, hey, does this fit my overall vision, or is this just a distraction? It is okay when someone sends you an investment, a pitch, a joint venture proposal, a whatever. It's okay to ignore. Some you need to reply, some you could ignore. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to know when to say no and when to say yes. Number 3, smart entrepreneurs never stop listening to their ideal customers. As entrepreneurs, what do? What it boils down to is we solve other people's problems and fulfill other people's needs and make a profit in the process. And we cannot fulfill other people's needs if we don't understand what our ideal customers' needs are. You see, you don't have to be the marketing genius. Your customer is the marketing genius. They will tell you what they want. They will tell you what they like. And they would also tell you what they don't like and what are they willing to pay for. They vote with their wallets. And that's the best bet. You see, most entrepreneurs, they spend so much time working on the thing or making their thing better, but they don't spend enough time listening to the customers. Is this even what they want? Did they tell you that that's what they want? Are they giving you feedback, or are you building something that nobody wants? And that's how most entrepreneurs fail. Now you might say, well, Dan, what about Henry Ford when he invented the car, Ford Motors, right? What about back then? You know, he said, if I was to ask what my customers want, then everyone would say faster horses. Well, there's exception. If you are selling and you're offering some kind of disruption technology, that's a different story. Because then you're anticipating the needs of the marketplace and you are essentially creating your own market. I'm not talking about that. That's a very small percentage of the entrepreneurs. For most entrepreneurs, we are more tapping into the existing needs, the existing desires that people already have. And we're tapping into that. That's how we make most of our money. So smart entrepreneurs, we never stop listening, paying attention to what our ideal customers want and what they need. Number 4, smart entrepreneurs focus on profits, not just revenue. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made in my career is in the early years, I was focusing so much on revenue. And I thought, you know what, revenue would solve all problems. I just need to generate more revenue, bring in more sales. It's always about bringing in more sales. And if I bring enough sales, all my problems will go away. That is simply not true. Because you don't go to the bank and deposit revenue. The bank is not looking at, oh, how much revenue you've generated. So sometimes when you read from a magazines, when you read from one of these posts, and saying, oh, this company is doing 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, $500 million in revenue, well, that's good, but how much profit are you actually making? What's your take-home pay? How much cash do you have in reserve? So profit, if you think about it, it is not an event, it is a habit. So if you're not making a lot of profit when you're growing, so let's say you're making $5 million in revenue and you don't have a lot of profit, by growing it, scaling it to 10 million, are you sure that you will make more profits? Are you sure that your profit will exponentially grow? Because profit has a lot to do with your profit margin. It also has a lot to do with your overhead and your expense. As an entrepreneur, sometimes it's easy that we are overly optimistic. Okay, we just spend money, let's bring in more revenue. And you could have a great month of revenue and then you look at profit, oh my God, we're actually making less money because maybe we did more marketing, it cost us more to bring in those customers. Or maybe now we need more infrastructure, we've hired a lot of new people, or we've just invested in this piece of equipment. But if you don't look at profit, it's a very, very dangerous habit. So smart entrepreneurs, we focus on profit, not just revenue. Number 5, smart entrepreneurs, we never stop learning. You see, till this day, I still read 2 to 3 books a week. I'm still a very dedicated student. I'm just as dedicated to learning as I was many years ago when I had no money. When I'm driving, when I'm working out, I'm always listening to some kind of podcast with successful entrepreneurs. When I'm working, when I am replying emails, checking out social media, I have some kind of programs, educational programs playing in the background because I know it's not just how much I know, it's how fast I learn. In order to compete today, you need to learn, you need to grow. You cannot stop. That's what smart entrepreneurs do. And that's what you need to do as well. Remember, ignorance is not a bliss. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is an illness. Ignorance is devastation. What you don't know will cost you. So keep learning and keep growing and keep reinventing yourself. What you have accomplished in the past, it does not matter. It doesn't count. What counts, what matters is today, the present moment, and where you're going in the future. So if you want to get smarter, faster, without all the costly mistakes, I'm going to have my team put a link somewhere around this page. Click on that link. I invite you to join my global community, Dan On Demand, where every single month you're going to get training from me that will help you to become better entrepreneur, that will help you to think like a millionaire. And on top of that, I'm going to give you a 3-day free trial. 3-day free trial so you can test drive to see what is it like to learn from me personally. And also I'm going to give you thousands and thousands of dollars worth of bonuses. So go ahead, click on that link right now and I'll see you in class.